Hello everyone, and welcome to this BIM and Revit 2016 Release 2 webinar. My name's Greg Benson-Shettle. I am one of the application engineers here at Greytech. Let's take a look at what we'll be reviewing in today's agenda. First, we'll have a review at what BIM is. Just a quick note, this is going to be an abridged version of a BIM webinar that we did a short time ago, as we've got so much content to cover in the Release 2 version. We'll explore some of the driving factors behind BIM. Then we'll have an in-depth review of Revit 2016 Release 2. Then look at some of the purchasing routes for your BIM software. Okay, we have a good amount to discover in a short time, so let's get started. Okay, what is this BIM thing all about, and what does it stand for, and why is it so important? When talking about BIM, we'll be using a lot of TLAs, in other words, three-letter acronyms. So, in a nutshell, the first of those TLAs, of course, is BIM itself, Building Information Modeling. What is this? This is intelligent 3D models of buildings where each element of the building knows what it is in detail, and this information is reportable. Some of the other acronyms that we're going to be looking at. Now, there's one here which is PASS. Particularly, we're taking a look at PASS 1192 Part 2. Now, this is actually a document that's available. PASS stands for Publicly Available Specification. It's a new BIM, one of the new BIM standards. And this is a fast-track industry standard. And whilst it's published actually by the British Standards Institute, it's not a British standard as such, but it does reflect what is currently considered best practice. Okay, and there's lots of hosts of others as well, such as CDE. We're looking at CDE is the Common Data Environment. So when we're looking at doing our building information modeling, we need an environment that's collaborative, so it's a common data environment. Another one is PIM, which is Project Information Modeling. Another one you'll see is TIDP. Okay, that's 4, but that's Task Information Delivery Plan. How are we going to get the information out? What's going to be the approved process? Is everybody aware of it? And the next one's a little bit confusing. We've got LOD and LOD. Okay, these two are basically, we're dealing with something called level of detail or level of development. Two separate issues. And when you look in documents such as the PASS 1192, these documents that are available, and incidentally a good resource for this is actually the NBS website. You can find out more about all of these terms and these three-letter acronyms that I've come up with here. It's quite a big subject, and there are some publications and books available. So I do recommend going along to the nbs.com. So what is driving BIM? Way back in 2007, okay, Chief Construction Advisor to the government, Paul Morrell, introduced the mandate for BIM for all centrally funded government projects. So this it's not really something that's new. You know, it's not a recent development. It's been on the cards for quite a few years now. There will be a phased rollout with a view to getting all appropriate projects into a 3D collaborative environment by March 2016. Well, we're just coming into December. This is not very far away. There's a summary action plan attached to the government construction strategy, and these documents are available, and they contain the detailed implementation plan for building information modeling. One of the key aspects at this early announcement was that we need to embrace more software. Well, we're in the right place, of course, to capture and control the information about our beginnings. At the very base level, this could have been just the inclusion of data in a spreadsheet, such as Excel. This base entry point fits in within a description of BIM called Level 1, and we'll discuss that a little later. The reason for organizing our building data is to have a structured content, and this aids with collaborative working. Here we see a graph you may have seen many times before. It depicts the levels of BIM in the stages from pre-BIM through to level 3. Okay, in more detail, let's take a look at this. The government has recognized that the process of moving the construction industry to full collaborative working will be progressive, with distinct and recognizable milestones being defined within the process. And these are in the forms of the levels. These levels have been defined from a range of 0 through to 3. And whilst there is some debate about the exact meaning of each, there is a broad concept, and it's as follows. First of all, we have level 0, BIM. This is in its simplest form. Level 0 effectively means no collaboration, no data collaboration. 2D CAD drafting is all that's utilized, mainly for production information, and this equates to RIBA's Plan of Work 2013 Stage 4. Output and distribution at this level is via paper or electronic prints, or PDFs, and probably a mixture of both. The majority of the industry is well ahead of this by now, and most of us are typically at level 1, and this comprises of a mixture of 3D, often just for conceptual work, and then 2D drafting of statutory approval documentation and production information. Ideally, CAD standards will be managed to BS 1192 2007, and electronic sharing of data is carried out from a common data environment. That's that CDE we mentioned earlier. Often this will be managed by the head contractor. This is the level at which many organizations are currently operating. Right. Okay, so most companies are at level 1, and they're looking at making sure that they've got their works are carrying through at a BS 1192, and we're getting some kind of common data environment in place as well. And as I was mentioning, most people are at this level already. Okay, BIM level 2. Okay, this is where we're heading. BIM level 2 is distinguished by collaborative working. All parties are using their own 3D CAD models, but not necessarily working on a single shared model. The collaboration will come in the form of how the information is exchanged between different parties. And this is the crucial aspect of this level. Design information is shared through a common file format, which will enable any organization to be able to combine that data in their own order to make what we now call a federated BIM model and then to carry out interrogative checks on it. Hence, any CAD software that each party used must be capable of exporting to one common file format that all collaborators on a project can read. One popular one that's gaining a lot of ground is IFC. IFC stands for Industry Foundation Class. And this also coupled together with COBie is forming a good basis for collaborative working. COBie is another standard. It stands for Construction, Operations, Building Information Exchange. And this is the method of working that has been set as a minimum target by the UK government for all work on public sector buildings by 2016, more specifically March 2016. So for level 2, collaborative 3D models are required, and ideally the information is to COBie standard. Okay, and there's lots of information where we can get these codings from, and in fact Revit has got some plugins available so that you can extract information directly out in the approved COBie format. Then lastly, of course, we have level 3. Now this is currently seen as the holy grail of BIM, as it represents full collaboration between all disciplines by the means of using a single shared project model, which is held on a centralized repository. All parties can access and modify that same model, and the benefit is that it removes the final layer of risk of conflicting information. Now this level 3 is also what's known as Open BIM. Okay, and the UK's government target date, yes, they do have one, is actually for 2019. So that's still a little way off. Yeah, 4 years. Yeah, at the moment. Now, there's a lot of current nervousness about the idea of Open BIM because of copyright and liability. And all of these are intended to be resolved by the means of a robust appointment of documents and software originator, read-write permissions, and also the latter by shared risk procurement routes, such as partnering. There is a protocol for this. The CIC BIM protocol is making provisions for these issues. Looking further ahead, it's highly probable that collaborative working practices will ultimately filter through down into the private sector as well. So let's have a quick look at some tools for BIM. We need to move along. COBie. Okay, a key organizational tool to help with this is the Construction Operation Information Exchange, COBie. COBie, it's designed to help organize and design the data at the handover stage on completion of a construction when the building maintenance and the life cycle begins. Okay. The COBie system intends to replace basically a pile of drawings and PDFs that a building owner is given with a set of real current data that can be transferred to their asset and facilities management system. This will provide levels of data that are more than just a record of the building, but data that can be used for business case studies, how spaces are used, what's the carbon footprint effect are going to be with various changes that you may make during the life cycle of a building. More information about this you can get from the bimtaskgroup.org. That's the bimtaskgroup.org. Autodesk also have embraced COBie approach and to help us with deliver a BIM package, a toolkit for Revit that provides a data exchange protocol that conforms to COBie. So we have actually got a plugin, I mentioned that before, and with the COBie plugin, it will enable you to produce the minimum level of detail to achieve BIM level 2 as required for government funded projects by March 2016. So look out for the COBie toolkit for Revit. It is, just a side note, at the moment it's still only available for Revit 2015, but I dare say that will get updated fairly soon. Okay, but there is a plugin for your full versions of Revit available. And you can grab that from the interpretability web page at autodesk.co.uk. Okay. In our review of 2016 Release 2, we'll be discovering what new and improved features there are, and we are assuming that everyone here today is already a Revit user. So we're either Revit Architecture or Revit MEP. This is not an introduction to Revit for beginners, just to set the scene for whom this presentation is aimed at. Okay, it's for people that know Revit already. Now, this is released exclusively to subscription customers who on Revit 2016. It's faster with better performance that translates to smoother navigation, speedier work processes, and ultimately improved project performance for users. It's smarter. It's got new tools, including things like global parameters. We'll explain those a bit later. These give you much better capture and information tools. Basically, overall, it's much more efficient with enhancements and improvements, both large and small, and also it includes some new features or improved features as requested by Revit users on the forums. And of course, the Revit users, they rely on you guys. You rely on this software day in, day out, and you guys know how best to use the software. As a subscription release for Revit 2016, R2, whilst it's almost like a new release, it minimizes any of the disruption of upgrading by making the new features available while maintaining all the continuity that you'd expect across all of the forms. Okay, so whether you're using Architecture, MEP, or Structure, or even LT, Release 2 is available. Okay, and it's going to be for either design suites or the single license applications. Wow, that's a lot of writing. Autodesk Revit 2016 R2, it's got over 25 updates with further improved software performance and scalability behind the scenes, plus new features. Revit 2016 R2 is fully compatible with the existing Revit 2016 releases. It doesn't have a file format change, so we don't need to worry about it causing any disruption with other existing users in the team or the other people that you're collaborating with that are also using just basic Revit 2016. It's the same file format. Let's start with the new features and functionality and enhancements for architects, and then we'll go and have a look at some of the more platform tools for MEP as well. To help improve productivity, the Release 2 will now only draw elements that are visible. Sounds obvious, but one of the things when you're panning and zooming around, Revit is currently trying to draw everything in there, but basically they've improved how Revit works as far as the visuals go, and it enables you to regenerate views more quickly during navigation and orbiting and panning and zooming. With the draw visible elements only option activated, and that's by default when you get 2016 R2. Basically, if you can't see it, Revit doesn't draw it, and that makes it a lot quicker. In fact, for some really busy models, it can make it twice as fast as the basic Revit 2016 when it comes to panning and rotating around. The progressive view updates and the occlusion culling performance is at GPU for you tech guys. Instead of it being on the CPU, it's at the GPU level. This sets Revit apart from other BIM software, and it takes advantage of the available hardware to help improve your overall performance. So basically, it's a lot faster at displaying the information we need to use. So we've got a new global parameter feature in Revit 2016 R2. Now this enables us to drive dimensions and element instance parameters with project-wide parameters. Okay, what's this mean? We can create, for example, global parameters to measure dimensions and then calculate formulators to drive the dimensions and parameter values in other elements within the project. Okay, for example, elements like beams won't currently they won't adjust if you change the thickness of the floor slab. With a global parameter, you can associate the parameter to the beam so that when the slab thickness changes, the beam will adjust to match. Okay. So these new global parameters, can prove to be really a huge time saver once you've got them in place. They're available in two classes. We have driving global parameter, or DGP. I love their TLAs. That push their values into an element or an instance parameter. And the other version is a reporting global parameter, or RGP. These can pull a value from a dimension and use that value in other global parameters using equations. With the global parameters, you'll be able to use equality dimensions to constrain any dimensions. You can use the global parameter to automate the positioning of one element based on the size of another element, for example. And global parameters also enable you to capture formulaic relationships directly inside the model. So now you can design a lot more efficiently with the ability to embed design intent in the model by bringing the parametric power of families live into the project environment. Global parameters, that'll be fun. Okay, family element visibility. This is a preview feature, and overall you'll find there's quite a lot of new enhancements to the graphics in many areas. The family element visibility preview feature helps you to see your design intent by filtering out geometries that are not viewed. Okay, so when you're actually in and you're editing your family, that is. You can work a lot more quickly because it's just going to be previewing geometries that, and you can make adjustments before loading the family into the project. So previously, with some features that we deal with when we're doing family creation and editing, you only know what it looks like when you actually put it into the project. And now we can actually see it while we're actually in the family editor. So that's going to save a nice bit of time. In plan views, the preview visibility tool allows you to preview what the family will look like when it's in a cut in the project as well. And you can, and this this ability is just going to make life a lot quicker. Moving on. Ooh, thermal zoning. Okay, this is really, it's bringing thermal zoning to people that maybe not are engineers. Autodesk has improved the energy analysis tools in Revit and are providing improved automatic thermal zoning in Revit 2016 R2 release. Thermal zones are represented in the energy models as analytical spaces. Now, in some cases, this will improve the accuracy of the energy analytical model. Best of all, you don't have to be an energy engineer to use thermal zoning. It's automatic. Okay. Now, you may be familiar with HVAC system zoning, where systems are split up by the design engineer for efficiency, scale, and control of specific spaces. But thermal zoning is different. Thermal zoning accounts for the variations in heat, gain and loss through the building envelope due to different orientations by dividing the envelope parameters into much smaller spaces. This new thermal zoning improvements are only available when you use the analysis mode, use conceptual masses and building elements. Okay, so that's one of the analysis modes. You need to select that one. And that's in the energy settings dialog box. And the thermal zoning in Revit is, once you get your head around it, you've done it a few times, it's pretty simple and it's automatic. So this is particularly useful during the early design prior to actually doing any interior modeling or HVAC zoning, okay, because you're doing it on the mass side of things. Right, let's have a look at some of the customer requested features. Okay, enhanced Revit links. Okay, there's a new positioning option, which is auto project base point to project base point. See, it sounds like an obvious one, really, but it's good to have it. It's available, when you're inserting a Revit link. This option positions the linked files using the model's project base point as the insertion point and aligns it to the project base point in the host model. Okay, it's a real valuable alternative for projects that do not wish to utilize the shared coordinate system. So it should just basically improve your productivity in coordinating your resources with better alignment of Revit models. Another requested feature is the ability to cancel multi-sheet print or export. In the Release 2, users can easily cancel, print or export of multiple views and sheets with one click to cancel the print jobs or export operations for entire sheet sets and views. So it's going to make it a lot quicker. If you do need to cancel something, it will work straight away. Another is a view filter user interface improvement. What's that mean? The filter dialog basically has been improved to make it easy to find filters in the list. Okay, now when you've got some filters, they're now listed alphabetically, and they're also sorted out into a tree style structure with a heading for rule-based selections. So it's just a nicer way of filtering through and looking at your filters. Right, some further customer requested features. Revision enhancements. Okay, if you're using revision tables, this one will be of interest to you. We've got additional information is now available for revisions to make it easier for you to see exactly how the revision numbers will be generated, and to select revisions to include in a revision schedule. The sheet issue revisions dialog has a new column for the revision number. When numbering is set to per project, that's important, this column will display the actual revision number that will be generated based on the sequence, numbering scheme, and the numbering options. Now, this column does not display if numbering is set to per sheet. Okay. The revisions on the sheet dialog has been enhanced to show additional data. You can now list the revision sequence information as part of the first revision column and display the revision date column. And overall, that with this, a few extra columns of extra information and choices here, it's just going to help us design more efficiently our sheets so that they've got the information that we expect them to have. Another one, this is to do with families, is isolate void with a or solid with a filter tool. If you've got a complicated family, it can contain lots of different bits of geometry, and sometimes it can be very difficult to multi-select only voids or only solid geometries within a family. With this new feature, it allows the use of the filter tool to separate solid form voids by separating them into two different filter lists. Okay, so the way we've done this is the geometries that are not assigned to a specific subcategory show up listed under the families category instead of just displaying other. Okay, the same differentiation is also available in the element properties dialog box. Okay, so if you can see this information in the properties box as well, so that's quite useful. And the customer requests keep on coming. Oh yeah, this one's nice. Per user RVT unload. Now with this feature, when you're using obviously a central file perhaps, and with Revit R2, they've improved the collaboration environments when working with linked files by enabling users to unload links on a per user basis. Okay, there's a new for me option. I'll just say that again, for me option in the unload command box where it unloads the Revit link for the current user only. So that's really quite useful, especially when you're working in a collaborative central file. This new option enables you to keep the RVT links unloaded for portions of the model that you're working on, and consequently, of course, that's increasing the performance and improving the memory usage without affecting other team members. So, it speeds up individual workflows so that you can focus on what's important to you without impacting negatively on the rest of the team. This is a nice new one. It's about time. Improved project browser. Now, when you scroll in the project browser, it remembers its location. Thanks to this, you don't have to constantly scroll back to the position that you're in before, maybe looking at a different view. So rather than, it's only going to save you a few seconds, but every time it's just really nice. You can flick from one view to another, and the project browser is going to stay where you last had it, so you can compare information easily. It's another nice add-on. Named reference planes. Named reference planes. As you know, when you put a reference plane across, over in the properties, you can give it a name. But now, when you place a reference plane, providing you've got your Release 2 installed, you can rename that or put a name to that reference plane right there on the canvas as you do it. It just makes life a bit quicker and a bit faster. Okay, looking at the architecture side of things, ray tracing. Okay, Autodesk have brought over some Max 3D Studio Max features into Revit, which is quite nice. In the Autodesk Revit 2016 R2, there is an enhancement to the Autodesk Ray Tracer that enables users to set different quality rendering settings. These are some new ones or improved ones. We can now select from custom settings that enable you to render by level, by time, or, here's a nice one, until satisfactory. And with this last feature, you can see how the rendering is progressing, and there's a dialog box with detailed progress information about your rendering. So with this, depending on you may not know how much time you've got available. You've got to get something out of the door. You can start it rendering to get the best quality you can, and you can leave it right up until the final hour before you can say, that's good enough, we'll stop it, let's save that, and we'll use that in our presentation. So this improved render quality settings is a very nice one as well. Wall join types. Okay, this is an improved feature. We now have the choice to select wall join types during wall creation. In this R2 improvement, to edit wall joins, you can choose whether to allow or disallow wall joins while creating your walls. Once you select the wall tool, you can select the join status of allow or disallow just as part of the drawing process. And this just gives us better control in our design views. So you'll find that option up here in the option box. There we go. We've got a drop down right here. Railing preview. I was using this just the other day actually. I found it very useful. We've now got a better preview window when we're looking at editing railings. You can actually see what's going on as you're doing it. So if you're going into the edit rail structure, balustrade placement, we've now got an active preview so we can see what's actually happening. This new feature enables a preview window in the type dialog to view new and existing rail types, shapes, enabling you to manipulate and iterate a rail design to preview the window before you're actually placing it. So again, it just makes us much more efficient. Room tool. We've got some extra functionality with the room tool. Place rooms automatically. When placing rooms, we now have an extra placement tool. When using this R2 feature, it's a bit like tag all. We can place a room tag in all of the rooms. So you look up in the modify ribbon there, we'll see that we've got a place rooms automatically button. So you simply click on this and boom, 21 rooms in this example automatically created. Yeah. However, let's look a little bit closer. In this example, we've got a lot of rooms that are going to need some tidying up. Yeah, and that's the same with most automated information tools from one piece of software to another. It's a good option. Okay, it's a new option, and that's what it is. It can be useful in some situations, but not others. but it's always a good option to have. So as your experience grows with this tool, you'll be able to assess the type of building that you're dealing with and how suitable it is to be able to do a one-click place rooms here option, and it's a nice new one to have. So that's place rooms automatically. View, underlay and orientation. Okay, what they've done here regarding the underlay is some user interface changes in 2016 R2, which better describes what we are actually seeing in the underlay. The view underlay is now by default set to none, okay, and when creating any new levels, plan option has been renamed look down, and reflected ceiling plan has been renamed look up for better view understanding. There it is. So there's a little drop down list on the underlay orientation. Drop it down and you can say, well, look up or look down. And then depending on which way you go, obviously you'll either see the floor below or the ceiling structure above in this typical example. Okay, let's take a look at some of the new features and enhancements specifically for the mechanical, electrical and plumbing contractors. I'm very conscious of time, so I'm going to whip through this as one a bit quicker. Basically, in the new version, the R2 version, the background processing of the graphics and fill colors and color schemes and associated fills are just much faster. Okay, so when you're moving around or making changes, it's to things like duct and pipe work, it's just going to be a lot faster. Historically, whenever we had a model change, that would affect a room or a space or a duct, and each view, it would update each view even if it wasn't open. This just slows the whole thing down. So it comes back to that, if it doesn't see it, it's not going to process it scenario. So this is going to make life a lot quicker rather than having to hang around and wait for multiple updates that you can't even see. Again, on the technical side, it's making good use of multiple CPUs that we have in our workstations these days, and it's speeding operations up for the CAD duct side of things by about 15%. So hopefully, if you're into the MEP side of things, this is going to make things a bit faster for you. Okay, we have some fabrication part modeling improvements. In Release 2 features enhancements to fabrication part modeling for both duct and pipe. It also features an improved in-canvas rotation tool for fabricated parts. The enhanced rotation controls enables users to more easily rotate a part on the axis to any desired angle, and you'll benefit here from more control and improved productivity when rotating connected parts around their connected ends. Another improvement we've found is the insert part option. This command makes it easy to place inline parts such as valves and dampers and T's into existing runs of straight segments. You can more easily place T's, valves and dampers into modeled runs, and it enables you to model fabrication level parts more efficiently in the part placement. Another enhancement, the Show Service tool updates the fabrication part browser to show the service of the element selected in the canvas view. And this makes it easier to continue placing related items. It gives you a more efficient fabrication part browser, and that enables you to basically model faster as well. So you can actually see what's going on in your fabrication parts. When using fabrication parts in Revit, you can place fittings on the side of rectangular ducts now, so such as square or round fittings using the tap placement tool. Okay. Once the tap has been placed, it can be positioned anywhere on the duct surface, and this improves accuracy with the ability to model taps to the side of a duct according to the specifications to meet fabrication requirements. Okay, so that should help a great deal. So with the fabrication part modeling improvements, all of this should overall improve the accuracy and the performance with the ability to model according to specifications more efficiently. Moving on to the electrical design enhancements, with the Release 2, you can now define, this is quite good actually, you can now define the default rating for newly created circuits, allowing you to tailor your project template to regional requirements. Okay. Default circuit rating provides control and flexibility for local needs outside of America. Yay. It simplifies the pre-populating branch circuit panels that may have many breakers and enables you to tailor circuit default ratings to local standards to meet our design specifications. Yeah. Now, another electrical design enhancement helps you when there are only two options for the default distribution systems on a panel. In prior releases, when placing a panel, the distribution system was always assigned as none. In this release, if a panel only has distribution options, has only got one distribution option, it's going to place it automatically. So if you've only got the one system in place, it's just going to put it onto the distribution board straight away for you. And that's just going to make it a lot quicker. Okay. As we've seen, this Release 2 for Revit 2016 has quite a few nice features. And as you explore these, I'm sure you'll find them very useful and just a natural extension to the way that you have been working. I certainly did. It's just a natural extension, it really is. But the question I expect many of you have is, how do I get Release 2? Okay. First, remember that this is for your Revit 2016 only. Okay. Secondly, it is a subscription benefit. So you must be on Autodesk subscription. Okay. If you have both of these, then there are two common ways to download your Release 2 bonus package. Now, the quickest way is by checking your Autodesk Application Manager and using the Update tool. Click on the Update tab, give it a moment to check, and hopefully it should appear on the list. So here we can see that I've got Revit LT 20 and Release. That's Release 2, but in a similar way, because I've already installed mine, they don't appear, but this is where you would expect it to appear, okay, using your Autodesk Application Manager. Now, I did say hopefully, okay. We have been seeing different experiences from user to user Okay, and I found, for example, I only had the LT Release 2 available in my application manager. So what's the alternative? I did say there were two ways. Another option to get your Revit 2016 Release 2 is via your Autodesk account portal. Okay, so when you get into your Autodesk account, okay, you need to make sure that you are on the management page. All right, and then you're going to be looking at your products, and then you need to basically browse down. Now in this example, I'm going to be finding Release 2 suitable for Revit that's inside of a building design suite. However, the basic process I'm going to take you through here will be the same for other suites or single products as well. So here's how you find it. Log into your account, go to the management, and on the products services panel, select products. Once you've selected products right here, okay, you should get a list of all of the products that you have installed or purchased and that you've got currently available. Once you're on your products page, when you scroll down, find your product, and you click on it. Okay, so here I found the building design suite. Okay, once you're on the product page, you go in to find your product, click on your product, and in this case it's going to be the building design suite. Once you're on your product page, select updates and add-ons. Okay, so you've gone to you found your particular product and you click on updates and add-ons. Now when you do this, it could actually contain quite a long list of available extras. Okay, so you could, if you wanted to, once you've gone into here, you could actually add a feature. You don't have to, but it is an option if you have got a lot of products installed and you want to whittle it down to a smaller list. Okay, so you can add a filter to help reduce the available options. Now when you click on add filters, okay, it's going to open up a filtering tool set. So you basically then select your version number. Now if you have got a lot of products, after you've selected your version number, you may need to expand this by clicking on more products and then go down and find Revit and then basically click on close. Now once you've done that, that has applied the filter, and then you should have a much shorter list of products and add-ons and enhancements that you need to go through. Okay, so this is how you can find your Release 2 for your Autodesk Release 2016. If you've still got quite a big list, then you can use the general Windows Find tool to further isolate the Release 2 options. So Control F and then type in the search field that you get Release 2, and it will show you just all of the Release 2s. As you can see, it's available on quite a few different products. Okay, and that's how you get it. So once you find it, download, and you can install your version of Release 2. So remember, it's for Revit 2016, and you have to have Autodesk subscription. Okay, that's our roundup of the Revit 2016 Release 2. And now we'll move on to some of the forthcoming changes as to how we will own our Autodesk software in the future. Purchasing routes for BIM software. Currently, There are two ways to buy your Autodesk software: perpetual license or desktop subscription. Perpetual license has traditionally been bought in one of two ways. Standalone products. These are the standalone single programs, for example, just AutoCAD, just Revit, etc. And these can be bought as a perpetual license. You buy it and it keeps on working at its current version for as long as you need it in that version. Then we've had design suites. These can also be bought as a perpetual license, and suites contain a range of different products to suit your total design process, from illustration right the way through to construction or fabrication. And finally, we have desktop subscriptions. These are a way to rent the software for a period of time that you need them, and then you decide what to do after the end of that term. And we're going to go into more detail about this a little shortly. The way in which we will own our software in future is changing, and it's only a matter of time. So, probably want to get your notebooks out here. Standalone products, single licenses, will no longer be available from the end of January 2016. Design suites, perpetual licenses, will no longer be available from the end of July 2016. Thereafter, only desktop subscriptions will be available. Also, please be aware that after these cut-off dates, there will be no upgrade or cross-grade opportunities available. Okay, but you're thinking, what about my current perpetual license and upgrading those in the future? Well, the answer is your subscription account. If you maintain your subscription, no gaps, you have an upgrade route. So your big investment in a perpetual license is not lost, but please remember, you must maintain your subscription to get the next version. So if you're currently on 2015 or 16, and you'll then want to move to 26, 17, 18, 19, and so on, you need to maintain your subscription. Otherwise, if you have a gap, your next upgrade will actually be buying, or rather renting, via the desktop subscription route. Yep, this is quite a change from the purchase model we have been used to for such a long time. But as we've seen in so many software industries, software rental is becoming the norm. And let's take a look at how this is going to work with the Autodesk products. Okay, you've got a lot more choices with desktop subscription. There's 4 ways to buy, or should I say rent, your products. First of all, we've got the monthly subscription. These are great for freelancers or startups, for very small businesses, or for anyone who just needs access to some extra seats of software during, for the duration of a project, perhaps. Yeah. So you can have them on a monthly basis. You can also have them, obviously, on a quarterly basis for a similar situation. It's ideal for more established companies who often experience maybe a seasonal workflow, temporary staff hires, and ad hoc projects that may come in. Okay, if you are more established, you've got a good, steady project coming in, then of course you can have an annual desktop subscription. Okay, these are appropriate for companies with long-term require long-term access to the products. And then finally, you can also have, ideal for larger companies, or if you're going to be secure about this, you can actually have multi year desktop subscriptions. These are ideal for established companies with a predictable project workload over a long period of time, and subscription can save you guys money while locking in the price for the length of the contract. So there we have it. That's the future of ownership. There's quite a few other advantages that the desktop offers give you. It means obviously your software is always going to be up to date. You've got the ability to be anywhere in the world and just jump on a PC and your software is available to you. There's huge amounts there's 25 gigabytes of storage space available as well. And one real popular feature of having a desktop account is the fact that you can have the home user license. So you can have a base at your office, and then if you need to carry on working in the evenings or at the weekend, you can have at no extra cost a home user license as well. So that is a desktop subscription, and that is the future of our ownership of Autodesk software and many other breeds of software as well. Okay, I was going to do a little bit more about BIM with a summary. Many countries around the world are offering BIM. Okay, it's becoming an international standard. It's well worth investing into it. The UK government has started the construction industry on a program that aims to reduce capital costs and the carbon footprint of the built environment by 20%. To see this through, it has stipulated, just as a reminder, that every new government-funded building project needs to be BIM compliant by 2016. Okay. And although the UK government is pushing this, many other countries worldwide are also using this process, including the USA, Ireland, Holland, Australia, and many others are developing it and introducing it as well. Right. If you have any queries, we've got other BIM seminars that we've done previously, so they're available. And there's further BIM and Revit information coming up in the coming weeks and months. So keep your eyes peeled. And if you need any additional information, please feel free. Yeah, that about wraps it up for this presentation. So I would like to thank you for your time today. So please give us a call if you need anything else. You can always obviously pop along to our website. It's greytech.co.uk, or indeed you can speak to a real live person between working hours on 023 8086 8947. Once again, thank you guys and gals. Hope you found it useful. We will be probably putting this onto our YouTube site in the next week or two. So you can always invite other people to come and see it a bit later. Once that's available, we'll put an email out just to let you know that it's now available. The same information about Revit 2016 Release 2 is available to view on our website. Thanks, and bye for now. If you've got any queries, I'll leave the line open for any chat queries, and I'll see to those queries offline. But for now, thanks again, and bye until next time.